What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of Beyond the Message. Man, I got Pastor Matt, Pastor Mike with me today. It's like the three amigos of our podcast here. We're bringing lots of voices in, but here we are, the old standards. And I am really itching to hear your response to the message this week. I really felt like this week's message was different. It resonated. It was like, man, I actually taught some people something about Christmas they did not know, and that is very hard to do. So, Mike, Matt, what's going on? Everybody good?
Yeah, we're great. I'm great. You great?
Excited for Christmas?
Yeah, I think I've just got one gift that I'm debating, buying my wife.
Oh, I thought you were getting my gift.
No, yours is done. Yours is done
you.
for sure.
So we were just before we came on, we were talking about all things Christmas, all things songs, and I just sang this song. What was the song? Happy birthday, Jesus! I'm so glad it's Christmas. And Matt has no idea. He's never heard that song before.
No.
And Mike looks at him like, "What?
It's not your singing ability, because that's amazing.
I'm sure.
I mean, it's not. I've never heard that song.
I got the melody right of that song.
You know what's hilarious though? When one time I was singing on the worship team covering for Scott, and I had to sing "How Great Thou Art," and we did that upbeat version. And I didn't have the words weren't on the back wall.
I remember that.
And one of the volunteers, I go, hey, is there any way I could please get the words? And one of the volunteers, older lady, said, you don't know the words to that song? I'm like, was not a church kid, sorry.
You don't know the words to How Great Thou Art. All right, we are digressing already.
Confessions of Pastor Matt.
So welcome everybody as we record this podcast. It's mid-December, close to mid-December. I guess it's the 10th of December?
9th.
The 9th of December we're recording this podcast. We're in a series called Simply Christmas. And it's, again, Christmas sometimes gets hard to re-engage people with content that's very limited in the Bible. And so this time around, I'm like using simple props, simple thoughts, just to keep people's minds back into, hey, you know what? Life is complicated, but we can choose to make life things simple. And so this week, I really loved it. I've kind of hit on some of this in years past, but never as hard as I hit it this week. This week was all about the tree, the Christmas tree, the meaning behind the Christmas tree, because there's a lot of confusion.
I didn't know that, by the way.
A lot of people are like, man, we've adopted the culture and the tree's in there and we're pagans. And I kind of brought that up. We've had people come through the church for years that would get very upset that we would talk about a tree or have a tree in the lobby or anything like that. And I just felt like, you know what? I think there's a lot of goodness. There's a lot of meaning to go back and to revisit. Hey, why do we put a Christmas tree in our home? And it is a very Christian symbol. Now, obviously, ancient cultures used evergreens. I mean, I always equate it this way. There's a hole in everybody's heart. They want to fill it with something. Yep. And so, but yet the modern day Christmas tree, the ancestor of that, I kind of went into the Middle Ages. And some of you, if you didn't hear the sermon, you're like, well, you went in the Middle Ages for Christmas. That's different. But we get the modern day Christmas tree from the paradise tree, the festival of Adam and Eve that they would celebrate on December 24th to remember the disobedience of Adam and Eve, and sin would come in our lives and death would come in our lives. But here comes Christ, the new Adam, to give us light, to give us hope. And so that evergreen tree represents life. They would adorn it with apples. It would represent the choices that we make poorly, but God loves us and would send Christ. And it turned into the Christ tree. It turns into the Christmas tree. And
I never knew this.
Some of you are like, I don't believe that. My son didn't even believe it. He's like, Dad, I chat GBT'd it, and you're right. I'm like, thank you for having to chat GBT it to make sure that I'm right about what I know to be right. So I'm interested on your take, because Matt, you'd say you never knew that. I was blown away.
Yeah.
How many people, like a couple thousand people, more than 2,400 people sat here, and you could see it in everybody's eyes like, I had no idea. I mean, old, young, they're like, we put up a tree. That's what we do. But the idea, I think, and my prayer is, you'll never look at the tree the same again.
It's interesting you just said that part of it, because we went home, and my family went to church Saturday night, which was great. We all sit together as a family. But then my son is in Club 412, and he goes there. But then Sunday, my son's been coming back with me to both services on Sunday, because he said, hey, I want to hear Pastor Brent. I really like Pastor Brent's preaching. I'm like, dude.
I knew I liked that kid.
He's a good kid. So we sit there and we talked about it Sunday. We went home and we kind of looked at our tree, and we were like, Now it's interesting because, yes, I have ornaments that I made when I was a kid. 7 years old, and, the Rudolph on the clothespins and the acorn squirrel and all that stuff. And I love it. But then I did look at the tree and going, wow. And I guess our heart is in the right place, because I got an ornament that the year my mom passed, and the year my dad passed, and the year my dog passed. Those are the top 3 for sure, because my dog is so awesome. But not the cats that passed. There's no ornaments about the cats that passed, but the dog for sure. But and it did make me think, wow, I do look at the ornaments, and yes, that's a great thing because they're loved ones in the past. But it's all about us through the years. And even though we have a star on the tree, and the kids get to put the star up they alternate each year. The simple point, and it was so simple, and it's like, man, why don't we do that, right? And we look at the star and like, yes, the star's got to point the way. It's not about us. It is about Christ, and it's that simple. And we just could sit back and look at it with the lights and just go, yeah, we need to change that.
It's good, Mike.
First of all, I want to know, Matt, do you have any of your kids' ornaments on your tree? Because you said you had your own on your tree.
Yeah. The kids dominate.
The kids go on a different tree?
No, the kids dominate. No, my wife has her special tree with her pretty ornaments, but the tree in the living room.
Tree with all the
come on now, that's stuff. How I roll, bro. The crazier the better.
Did we cover that ground on the podcast or not yet? That your wife wanted to replace your family tree and your kids revolted, and you're like, forget that?
Yeah. She tried a new tree, and we were like, absolutely not. Like, how can you do that? I even made a joke in the service about that. You were talking about a tree, and I'm like, yeah, not your tree. That was funny.
Has it just turned into a Charlie Brown tree, or what's this?
No, it's really nice, but it's just full of stuff.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, it's really kind
of. So she's done looking at your.
The modern day is Pinterest, and you got to have it all looking perfect.
So we got 2.
She's just saying Matt's not an artist.
She's got 2. She didn't get rid of the new tree. She just put it somewhere else. She sits over there under her tree.
Matt's tree is in the basement. Enjoy.
The family's now divided. Merry Christmas. All right, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, one of the things that I really liked that you went this angle, because the best that I can remember, I've never heard somebody take a week in church and talk about the symbolism of the Christmas tree, not even lightly. And I really appreciated that, because I said, maybe it's because we've been talking about this in the weeks leading up behind the scenes, and, the algorithm is listening and all those things. But I swear, leading into this past week's message, social media, the number of posts that I saw specifically tearing down the idea of a Christmas tree. And like you said, the things that you tackled, that, oh, this is pagan, this is that, all these different, and the conflict and the origins of the tree and all that. So I like that you took the time to say, hey, this is why we do this, and this is what this represents. And of course, to go back to the idea of the Garden of Eden, that moment of that separation between us and God, that moment of choice. But then again, just like we see biblically from Genesis to Revelation, the Christmas tree, it points to not only that separation moment, but ultimately brings us to that moment of redemption. And so I really, really like that, because I think, again, so many times we associate the Christmas tree with all of the commercial aspects of Christmas. We associate it with Santa. We associate it with Christmas presents and all these different things, and all the obligation side of Christmas that so many people kind of get wrapped up in, that we have no idea why that tree is in our house. We just know, hey, it's Christmas, it's pretty, and let's stick it up there.
It blew my mind that people are like, we just put it up.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There's no real symbolism to it. It's just something to do. Of course, people walked out and said, are you going to tackle Santa? Are you going to talk about Santa? I'm like, not this year. But, again, we've just blurred the lines. It was St. Nicholas, someone who would give to need. I think you can use anything for good, even if there's evil out there in it, or there's like a non-religious or faith moment. But a tree, you can get mad, you can say all you want. It's just like I kind of alluded to, I think a few weeks ago, like people would think our country's not founded on people of faith. We're perfect. No. But again, a tree is very Christian in its symbol. Where we get it from, the ancestor of our Christmas tree is that, and it can, as my mama would say, it can preach a sermon.
Yep.
Now the star is important, and my wife, this is how convicting we got. The tree that we have in our living room, because of the height and the ceiling, it doesn't have a star, and I gave in,
Yeah, right.
I'm like, whatever, honey, it's all got to be perfect. We got all these.
He's blaming her.
There's no ornaments anymore at all of any meaning. It's just what you buy at Hobby Lobby that looks perfect. And she even came on and said, we got to find a place to put the star up because everything points to the star. It points to Christ. And so again, I used Genesis. I used that moment of the loss of innocence. And I do think that you can kind of go, wait a minute, ever since then, we've lost innocence at Christmas. We lose it. We complicate it. We blur its meanings. And then I went into Jeremiah, which I just did. I just did it because it's crazy. I've heard talking about the algorithm and hearing things. A few weeks ago, it triggered my mind because somebody on Facebook or whatever was like, if you put up a tree, you're a heathen, you're a pagan, and they used Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Jeremiah, what's it say? The ways of the people are worthless, basically following the culture, don't lean into their ways. They cut a tree out of the forest. They adorned it with silver and gold. And then I like that. They fastened it with a hammer and nails so it would not totter. And that literally sounds like a Christmas tree. We just all shot a video at a Christmas tree farm and, we'll cut it out of the forest. And people get so weirded out and confused. And it had nothing to do with the Christmas tree, but it has everything to do with what we can learn, and that's idol worship.
Yeah, that's right.
If we're putting up a tree to put up a tree and it's all about the tree and it's not pointing us to Christ and it's just all, okay, Santa, and it's just we do this and it's for us, then we blur the lines. Then that Christmas tree is not really helping us. It's not bringing any meaning. And I loved that angle, even though that's the weirdest angle ever to preach for Christmas. Hey, let's take Jeremiah.
Well, and I think too, that goes back to, we got to, regardless of the topic, it just emphasizes how important it is that we are super careful that anything we look at biblically, you got to keep in proper context. Because the number of times I've had people come up to me, before or after service, whatever, and say, hey, let me ask you a question about this. What do you think about this passage? Whatever. And they'll throw out a random verse. And there's times where it's like, hey, there's obviously things that we've all dealt with, we've all tackled before, where I'm like, yeah, I can tell you right away. There's other times where I go, hold on, back up. It's like, let's look at this. Let me read what's before, what's after. Let's not take a solo verse or a solo couple of verses and twist it and contort it to mean something it doesn't. Because you even made the joke this weekend, which I thought was hilarious. You're like, if we're going to go down this road, your kitchen cabinets are evil,
because that's really it's a wood carving that you're talking about.
And and so we need to be careful that yes, it's important to do our best to hold ourselves to a higher standard than what the culture does. To biblically stand there and go, okay, we need to make sure that we are conducting ourselves the right way, that we don't just fall into something unknowingly, but at the same time, let's not take a scripture verse and twist it to mean something it was never intended to mean. That the idea of Jeremiah is we're talking about idolatry, we're talking about worship, and like you said, I know in at least some of the services this weekend, nobody's bending the knee to their Christmas tree and worshiping it, or at least most people are not doing that. That's not why it's there. And so as long as that's not the case, the tree is not an evil thing.
Here's what I think, though. I think we all are guilty of, we don't bend the knee to the tree, but what that represents. Gifts we go buy at Best Buy, and we go in debt, and we're all about that, and it's all about the gifts, and we got to keep up with every other family. And if we lose, and I guess the whole idea of this week is if you strip Christmas of its meaning, even the tree, of really where it came from, and you don't think about that, then you are guilty of idolatry. You can make this about you, and it's not about you. The Christmas tree points to Christ, the Christ tree. People do kind of put that together. That's why the culture is trying to strip Christmas away still, even though I think Merry Christmas is back in vogue this year.
It is.
Thanks to President Trump. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's just like we've kind of come a little bit of full circle. And if you happy holidays it, and it's all about the tree, and it's all about the ornaments, and that's it. It's about you, and it's about the gifts we put in our tree. Look what we did for our kids. There's an issue there. And that, I think, for you guys with smaller children, you have to point to your children to that. What is this about?
Right.
So for me, it blows my mind that people don't read Luke 2 on Christmas morning. It's just we open our gifts and we happy holiday, and that the Santa Claus is coming. And that's it. I mean, those are innocent things, but if you're not pointing to the meaning, you're stripping your kids of that meaning, and they won't know that. Their innocence will be lost before they even know it.
Yeah, and this is not like I'm trying to say that if people don't do this, they're bad people, but like for our family, we started it out. Our kids get 3 gifts. Jesus got 3 gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So our kids get 3 gifts.
Well, you get me a bar of gold. That's one. That's a great
one.
Gift.
Gold is really great. And hey, gold, frankincense, there's myrrh. All right, that's a joke.
Boom.
But
He'll be here all week.
so we do, and that's the idea is, well, so-and-so got all this stuff. And it's like, listen, that's great. Maybe they're blessed. They can do that. But for us, we do try to strip it down and make it about Christ. Even with Santa, Santa's coming and he's, but it's about Jesus. That's really the main focus. I just to do kind of a 180 or a left turn, or I guess whatever you want to say. I thought the way that you wrapped the service with, what do? We take the tree from the outside and we bring it inside. And then you talked about when Jesus died on that tree, on that tree in Calvary, and we got to take that inside in our heart. I thought was really good because we were in such a simplistic mode there. Like this, I don't know if I told you this, but I really feel like this series, I think we sit in the service and it's like a deep breath that we all get to take. It's not like overstimulating. It's just, and it's, wow, the title, Simply Christmas, right? We're trying to simplify it. But there is a deep
I'll give Mike
breath.
props on that. We had a few options, and Mike's like, Simply Christmas works. So we went with Mike's, because what was mine's a simple Christmas, and Mike's like, I don't like that.
But it's just
Simply Christmas.
It is. It's a deep
Your idea
breath.
stinks. No,
It's a deep breath. And that little, just equating what you said, like, man, we cut that tree out and bring it inside. Man, Jesus died on a tree too. We got to bring that inside. And I don't know. I really thought it was touching. You did a salvation call, and the people that were affected, I did open my eyes, just to make sure. And
Two people, like I said, that talked to me about accepting Christ were teenagers.
see, and that's
Out in the lobby.
so.
Had people reach out, but in person, two people, except teenagers.
In their world today, let me tell you, that generation, that Gen Alpha, that generation,
I don't even know the names of that.
it's Alpha, and
What am I? 55? Am I Gen
you're
Millennium? No, I'm not even that. I don't, anyway, we're digressing.
We're digressing. But Gen Alpha is like the older teens right now. And then Beta is right there, like the younger Club 412, 7th, 8th graders. So what they're experiencing, they've had all of this stuff in their life, their whole life. They're starting to realize that is not working. That's not doing it for them.
Yeah.
So the affecting nature of what we're doing at youth, when they come up and listen to you, is they're like, I think I'm getting this. My phone doesn't, like, yes, it distracts us and it absorbs so much of our time and we waste so much of our time and we idolize that, right? But they are realizing at an age, even Crossroads, that early 20s, like that world, I'm telling you, they are realizing that all the stuff that we've been sold is going to fulfill us is not working. So the change that is happening in those generations, they're coming back, especially young men. They're coming back to church, and it's affecting them, and it's a beautiful thing. There's a turn. There's a revival, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest danger, is just stripping Christmas of its meaning, especially with the next generation, because it is, I mean, I was a kid of the 70s. It was simple.
Yeah.
We got gifts. It was simple. I mean, I got a Batman kite, stuff.
Oh.
And now we've got to the point to where it's just insane. And it's just like parents are going in debt. Kids, oh, they got that. Well, my friend got more than me. And you spend a gazillion. And it's just, I think maybe, and people are going to hate me when I say this, maybe we even start Christmas a little too early. Maybe we put all the trees up because we want to put it up and it's there, and it kind of, you kind of start to feel like, okay, whatever. And the idea of just bringing it back to something very simple is so important, especially for our kids and our grandkids. I think that for me, I see the lens through my granddaughter. Y'all have kids.
Yeah.
And it's just that. It's me and Livy playing with Play-Doh. It was that. I think it was maybe that moment of this is so simple stuff. And we were just making snowmen and having fun and listening to Christmas music. Yeah. I'm thinking that. And she was so excited. Not about gifts, but about spending time with me making snowmen with Play-Doh and listening to It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. Awesome. And I thought, wow. So I did something the other night. We'll close with this because I think we can go on and on. And I think most people know, if you've listened to it, you know what we need to do. We need to make sure that we don't strip the season of its meaning. Don't idolize. Don't turn Christmas as a culture into an idol, but make sure it's all about Christ. So I did something. I practiced what I preached. It was today is Tuesday, so it was Sunday evening. Giovanna had gone to bed early. I'm trying to stay up because I'm so tired. I'm old, and 8 o'clock. I'm like, I got to stay up a few more minutes. But I was kind of tired of watching whatever. I don't even think the football game was on yet. I went in the bedroom. We watched that for a few minutes and went to sleep. But I sat in the living room and I looked at my tree. I was recapping the week, thinking to myself, did I say it all correctly? Did that matter at all in anybody? And I think it did. It's kind of a rare week to where people are like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, okay, this is good. And so I decided to stare at the tree, got on YouTube and didn't watch any YouTube, but I turned on Brandon Lake's Gratitude.
Yeah.
The song. Mm-hmm. And I stared at the tree and I thought about all that I went over and I listened to that song. And so our Christmas Eve services are coming. There's going to be a moment like that. Yeah. Because if we forget the meaning, we forget it all. Then it's an obligation. Then it doesn't matter. It's like a Christmas tree, a live tree. Y'all remember when the live tree at the end of the season and you forgot putting water in the base, and my dad would go outside and go, son, watch how quick this thing goes. Yeah. And it disintegrates. I think that is a good angle to think about. Christmas can disintegrate if you don't let it linger and you don't really recall the meaning and let it springboard your faith. And so I listened to that song, all my words fall short. I got nothing new. I thought, what's there new at Christmas?
Yeah.
But yet the gratitude of what Christ did, Adam and Eve chose poorly. We can blame them, but we've also chosen poorly.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, wait a minute, Christ, you love me. And if I just look to the star, and I can hear Mamaw now, wise people look to the star. The star pointed them to Christ. And do that. You guys everybody needs to do that. There's your homework assignment from the podcast, is to turn on Gratitude and stare at your tree, and maybe your kids, and just make sure that meaning is there. And it's just really good. I hope you don't ever look at the tree the same again. That's my prayer, because I sure didn't. For my wife, she's pretty hard-headed. She's pretty Italian. She's stubborn to go, we need a star. We need a star. We need a star. And I'm like, I told you, finally she got saved and she's a Christian now. So it's all good.
Boom.
All right, Pastor Matt, Pastor Mike, thanks, guys. We love the podcast. It is amazing how many people talk to me about the podcast. We like the format. If you're listening, thank you so much for the encouragement. Shoot us an email. Let us know you're listening. Just it's always good because we spend this time. We got a lot of other things going on. We got 40 things going on all the time. But we want to do that because people, I think, want a little bit more lean in, a little bit more, just kind of behind the scenes.
That's great.
Love you guys. Let's pray. God, be with us this Christmas season. We're right here mid-December. It's just a few weeks before Christmas. It's going to come and go very quickly. And we just, we're thankful for this time of year. We are so grateful for what Christ has done for us. May we never lose that innocence. May we never lose that meaning. And if we hold Christ high, we follow the star, we look to even the things that we've done, even the ornaments that we put on our trees, just family memories, really all of these very sentimental things. It just tells us that our family is wrapped around Christ and all that he's done for us. God, just use this season in a mighty way in our lives. Do something unexpected. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.